If you let this one thing dominate your doctor's conversations and specialist conversations, you are completely wasting your time. When you become chronically ill, a lot of us pack on the pounds, and that is not our faults. It is the reality of our lives, our chronic ill lives. We end up spending more time in bed, not being able to exercise, not being able to watch what we eat, because most of the time we don't control what we put in our mouths. That it be that we have to eat out more often, that we aren't able to make our own food, or that our spouses control the food that we eat. I'm not saying these things as a pity party to us chronically ill people. This is purely just facts. Even when you're not eating at all, which I did for months when my nausea was so bad I could barely keep anything down, my doctor was like, Steph, the reality is you are literally not burning anything. And so it doesn't matter even if you were not to eat for months. Your metabolism is such crap because of your immune system and all the autoimmune diseases that I have. It's just an absolute disaster. Over the span of almost 2.5 years, I went from being a pretty normal 160 pounds, not healthy because I haven't been healthy since I was the age of 16, but a pretty average human being, to weighing over 260, weighing 270 pounds. Yeah, I'm not gonna say I didn't binge eat because I was angry and mad and had emotional things that I had to deal with. I didn't control everything that was happening to me. As time went on, I saw more specialists, had more appointments, and things were just kind of going crazy around in my life. But here's the one thing that became obviously apparent. The years leading up to my highest weight on the scale, I perpetually ran into this one problem. It didn't matter what I weighed on the scale. As soon as I walked into any appointment with a specialist, one of the first things they told me as a female was, maybe you should lose some weight. Maybe your weight's the problem. Maybe we should consider putting you on a diet. Maybe this is the problem. Maybe that's the problem. But it always came back to me not having and or living a healthy lifestyle. Even though from a pretty normal perspective, my labs always came back fairly normal, which is really shocking considering my autoimmune disorder system was completely out of whack. And here's the absolutely ridiculous part of this. Nobody could even contemplate understanding my complicated labs. My white blood cell count, red blood cell counts, even some of the things that most patients with cancer diagnosis and of the such, who have absolutely ridiculous labs, I have some of those labs that are off the charts, and doctors have no idea what to do with them, and they don't know why those labs are so off the charts, and yet my cholesterol, my diabetes labs, and all of those are normal, and yet they tell me that my weight's the problem. Don't get me wrong, I will completely agree with you that I should probably lose some weight for my cardiac health and for, just day-to-day maintenance of life. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that I shouldn't lose some weight, because I probably should. But I live a life that is incredibly challenging to do so. And I live in a body that fights me every single day and doesn't allow me to do those things very easily. I don't live a normal life that just lets me go to the gym and go run 5 miles. I don't live in those bodies. And so here's the thing. I wanted to make this video to, 1, let you know you're not alone. 2, let you know that the next time a doctor ever brings up the fact that your problem is related to the fact that you've packed on some extra pounds since you've been sick and all those things, guess what? The problem started before those pounds were added onto your body. So guess what? That ain't the problem. I've been sick since I was 145 pounds and a very normal human being. Weight and the scale should have nothing to do with it. What I weigh and what my body is telling you has nothing to do with the madness that is going inside of my body. The reality is, yes, the scale and weight, doctors can use it as a correlation, but I have been sick for 7, going on 8 years now, and none of them have been following me on this journey since then. And if they were to actually look back and look at some of the photos and look at me from that very beginning, they quickly realize, if they were actually paying attention, that the reality is correlation isn't causation. And I've been sick for a very, very long time. Yes, I've packed on the pounds. And quite frankly, if they've actually noticed, I've actually lost quite a bit of weight over the last 2 years. And guess what? I don't feel much better, which we'll be tackling next week on next week's video. So subscribe and stay tuned for that if you want to hear more about that story. Don't let your doctors narrow in on this one issue. Acknowledge the fact that you are aware and you are not in this narrow view mind that, yeah, okay, maybe I should lose some weight. But these issues probably came before the weight was on. And even if it didn't, guarantee you, even if you were to lose some of that weight or even all of it, guarantee you most of those issues would still be around, especially if you have autoimmune related issues, diabetes. A lot of those issues don't just disappear because the weight goes off. A lot of these issues are in your body. Us autoimmune, chronic illnesses, all of these things don't just disappear because we all of a sudden have these healthy lifestyles. Yes, some issues are reversible. I'm not going to say that everything we go through isn't. But you people who are probably following my channel have very, very complex health issues that, like me, losing the weight is not going to fix you. And so don't let your doctor narrow in on that one issue and manipulate you and making you feel like you're the problem. Their job is to help you. And if they're not doing that, time to find a new doctor, time to get re-referred to another specialist. You have the right for those things. If you're in Canada, you have every right to see another specialist. The amount of times I've done it and have found better specialists who are actually willing to listen to me, hear me out, and actually communicate and look at other options, I can only count on a few hands how many there are, but keep pushing. It is your right as a patient, and you have to advocate for yourself. It's time that we take our stand as patients to actually advocate for ourselves for better healthcare. Better healthcare for ourselves and better healthcare for everybody out there. I hope this video is helpful, and stay tuned for next week where we talk about how losing 50 pounds has really affected my body. Don't forget to slow your roll, and we'll see you next week. If you'd like to see how my weight loss journey started, check out this video on Ozempic.